Hey rockers, welcome back to Bloody F Mess Official. It is officially time for another video. Tonight the video is being brought to you by my sponsor, C&J Window Cleaning and Power Washing in New York State. They have a Facebook page and lots of info there. You should check it out and maybe give it a like if you can. Serving parts of New York State, including Shirley, Dix Hills, Mastic, Manhattan, Blue Point, Nassau County, Deer Park, and Suffolk County, and more. So again, C&J Window Cleaning and Power Washing, their phone number, if you want to reach them, is 631-310-9858. And of course, they pride themselves on being the very best window cleaning and power washing business in New York. Again, C&J Window Cleaning and Power Washing. Tell them Bloody sent you. Right, we're going to get into the story. I want to thank Cretin Youth Fanzine. Cretin Youth Fanzine out of Texas did a little interview with yours truly, and they were cool enough to send me a copy. Just wanted to share this with you guys real quick. There are people still out there doing old school fanzines in print, and they did a nice job, man. Nice layout with photos, cool interview, lighthearted. They stuck to the main source. We're talking about music and about, my career and stuff. So yeah, Cretin Youth, thank you so much for your time. It is now time for the main event, and that is me talking about Devo. Sister Tracy and I, up to Portland, 5-hour drive, maybe 4.5. We drove up to Portland, having a good time. We get down to the where the festival is being held. And by the way, this was the Project Pabst Music Festival. IGGY POP was going to go on right after Devo. I already did a story on Iggy, which I put up last night. This was July 26th of this very year down at Tom McCall Waterfront Park. It was the 50 years of De-Evolution tour. They expected, 10,000 people, but there were 15,000 people. It was freaking packed. I tell you that, man. It was $100 per ticket per day. So to go to this festival, $200. Thank you to Audrey and thank you to Amy for turning us on to tickets, and it saved us a bunch of money. We appreciate you guys so much. Thank you, Audrey and Amy. We get down there, right? And we realized there's these big screens. They had 2 stages, right? One on one end of the festival waterfront area, one on the other extreme end. So when one band would end, about 10 minutes later, the other band would go on. So there was no waiting. It was pretty cool. I get impatient waiting for bands to come on. I loved how they had it set up. We ran over to get into where Devo was at, but first we were stopped by security because Sister Tracy's carrying a bag, girls carry, but it was this big. And the guy says, "Oh, the bag's too big." We're like, "What?" Because it was a couple inches bigger than they allow. I mean, search the bag. Anyway, we had to long walk it back to the car, put the damn bag in the car. Right when we got back, Devo started. So we were there right when they started, which was really cool, man. I tell you what, I'm not one of those fans of the big screens. I like to see a show where you can actually see the band on stage in front of you, but sometimes those big screens are a saving grace. When we were walking up to come in, there were tons of people that were not paying. They were just standing outside watching the big screens, getting a free show. And everyone out there was singing along and happy. Even though they weren't paying to get in, it was a good vibe. But from the minute we got there, lots of people smiling. It was pretty cool, man. Pretty cool. Devo, of course, formed in Akron, Ohio, and one of the most iconic bands of the 1980s. Really good band. I never really appreciated them a whole lot in the 80s. I did like them, when they did Are You Experienced and I Can't Get No Satisfaction, and of course Whip It. But these days, I'm a big Devo fan, and I was very happy to get to attend this show. It was a good goddamn time. Devo did start in 1973. Isn't that crazy to think about? Yeah, man. And today, the version of Devo that we saw was co-founding member Mark Mothersbaugh, very famous for doing soundtracks and just a wizard, an eccentric genius who's done a whole lot with his talents over the years outside of Devo, right? And there were times where he wasn't with Devo, but he was back. And of course, he played a lead and backing. He did lead and backing vocals. He plays his keyboards, his synthesizer. He played guitar. But he's very known for incorporating experimental sounds, unique instruments into the mix, which is great. Bob Mothersbaugh, which is he's known as Bob One. That's Mark's brother, right? He is also in the band. He played lead guitar, did some vocals, a little bit of keyboard work. Gerald Casali, I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. Gerald, no offense if not. He played bass and some synth and some vocals, lead and backing vocals as well. Newer member Josh Hager was there on guitar, doing a little bit of keys and some more vocals. And touring drummer Jeff Friedel. That was the lineup that me and Sister Tracy got to witness down at the Project Pabst Music Festival. We were really, really anxiety-ridden, waiting for Iggy Pop to come on, to be honest. But I'm like, I couldn't ask for a better opening act. And I know that Iggy Pop and David Bowie, I believe, were instrumental in getting Devo signed originally, I think, to Warner Brothers. I could have that wrong. But I've got the set list, man. The exact set list right here in my hand. There were people walking around the place, too, by the way, wearing the red Energy Dome hats that Devo's known for, those weird hats, right? A lot of people in the audience were wearing those. Those are pretty cool. They started out basically coming out on stage with a big video that kind of showed the 50 years of Devo. Mark Mothersbaugh did a great opening monologue where he went off about how they are Devo and are we Devo? Are we not men? The whole big rant. And then they went into the first song, which is Don't Shout, I'm a Man, from the Something for Everybody album. That was a pretty good record. The band was very tight, very hypnotic keyboards and drum sound. The crowd was making a lot of noise, and when they came on, the crowd was just very happy to see them, man. It was really cool. And again, seeing those red Energy Dome hats everywhere was kind of cool, man. But after that initial video, and the band did a lot of costume changes too, which was kind of neat, man. After they did Don't Shoot Me, I'm a Man, they did Peekaboo, I See You, which of course was from their 5th album, Oh No It's Devo, from 1982. Very trippy sounds emulating from the band. All the arms are waving in the crowd. Everyone was really happy, because Devo, man. Devo, right? Then they did Going Under. They did a 16-song set, by the way. Going Under was cool. That song's from the 1981 New Traditionalist 4th album by Devo. Very intense beginning. The keys were really loud. The synthesizers were really loud. The drums were loud, which was really good. Great sound system there, man. Mark was hopping back and forth from keys to back up front on vocals a lot. Really neat stuff, man. And then they went into the song That's Good from the Oh No It's Devo album. The screen behind the band was showing all kinds of really intense videos, like a big donut with something being stuck into the donut. You would often see a screen that looked like the TV was off the air back in the old days, with the big color rainbows going across the screen like the TV was off the air. Really cool symbolic shit going on with Devo on these screens. So I was often checking that stuff out, man. After they did That's Good, they did Girl You Want. Lots of heads were bobbing in the crowd. Of course, that song from the 3rd album, Freedom of Choice in 1980. People are dancing in the crowd. Then, of course, a song I expected to be later in the set, Whip It. Yeah, my old band, The Veins, used to cover Whip It. We even recorded a studio version of it once, which is unreleased, I believe. But Whip It, man, it was really cool. The band had black outfits on. They had the red Energy Dome hats on. It was super fun watching Devo with their robotic movements and their synchronized dancing. Really cool to watch this stuff live, you know, after all these years. 50 freaking years of Devo? And they promise they're going to be back in 50 years for the 100th anniversary. We'll see. You never know, man. You never know at this day and age, right? The crowd was stoked. Everyone was singing to Whip It, including me. Into shape. Shape it up. Get straight. Move forward. Anyway, After they did Whip It, they went into Planet Earth, which is from the Freedom of Choice album, 1980. And that was either Bob or Gerald singing lead on that. I think Mark normally does, but it was neat. The vocals were cool on Planet Earth. I Can't Get No Satisfaction, the Rolling Stones cover, was the next song, and I had forgotten that they even covered that. It's been so long. But they did a pretty cool version of I Can't Get No Satisfaction. That's from the first album, 1978, Are We Not Men? We Are Devo. They had their yellow costumes on at this point. Looks like some kind of latex costume with the words DEVO on them. And parts of those costumes were getting ripped off during the show. They had certain parts of the costumes that at certain points, Mark Mothersbaugh would rip off his own clothes, rip off different parts of the other band members' clothes. At one point, he ripped off his own, it looked like his arm was ripped off. And the way he would position his arm behind him, they had this big thing coming off his shoulder, and it literally looked like this with this big thing, and it looked like he was armless. It was a pretty cool effect. I really enjoyed watching Mark on stage. Really eccentric and trippy dude. Yeah, that was fun. Planet Earth was next. Oh, I did that. I'm getting ahead of myself, man. The band was singing. It was very surreal seeing these guys do I Can't Get No Satisfaction. But everyone was singing along. But the next song was really a treat. Their version and their cover of the P.F. Sloan originally done Secret Agent Man, which, you know, was Johnny Rivers, I believe, had a big hit with it. But yeah, Devo did a great version with their all yellow outfits, keyboards sounding really good, people singing along, including yours truly. Then the band went into the 10th song of the set with Uncontrollable Urge from the Are We Not Men LP. Of course, they have the yellow outfits on. Great synchronization. It was a very big crowd pleaser. A killer song. Mark was up there ripping off clothing, and it was truly, surreal. Mongoloid was up next from the first album. The audience was clapping along and singing along. And I do believe that Mongoloid was originally a B-side on the 1977 Mongoloid single. And it was re-released for the 1978 first LP. I might have got some of that information screwed up. Sorry, it's late, man. I've been doing research for about an hour and a half on this show, writing down my memories, looking at video footage, etc. But yeah, I try, man. Jocko Homo was next, and that was a great tune. De-evolution is real, Mark says at the beginning. De-evolution is real. And then during the whole song, he'd be like, are we not men? And then the crowd would go, we are Devo. Are we not men? We are Devo. It was really cool interaction, man, with the audience, and everyone knew the words, which was pretty much showing that they were diehard Devo fans, man. I used to love watching those guys on MTV and back on the day on The Cutting Edge and different shows on TV in the 80s. Of course, Devo was a mind blower, total trippy band that a lot of people that went over their heads, including me for a while. But again, I love Devo, and they are just geniuses, really, man. Jocko Homo, very cool stuff. Smart Patrol / Mr. DNA from the Duty Now for the Future album was up next. Then they went into Gates of Steel from the Freedom of Choice album. Freedom of Choice, the title track from that album, was up next. And that was really cool. The red lights on the stage were wild. The guys were marching around with trippy black outfits on with the words letters DEVO on different parts of their outfits. It was very hypnotic with the way the synth and the keyboards were lining up with the drums. Lots of times it was like hypnotizing watching Devo. Just very different from most rock bands. I mean, it's not just a guitar-oriented band. It was like so much synth, so many trippy sounds generated by the band. And of course, Mark Mothersbaugh constantly hopping back behind keyboards. All kinds of trippy sounds coming out of the guitars. And then Mark would be back up front doing vocal duties. Very, very good entertainer. The band was very tight. I loved him a lot. They did Gates of Steel. And then they went into Freedom of Choice, which I just said. Then the last song of the night, song number 16, was awesome. They did the song Beautiful World from the new Traditionalist album. The last song, of course, everyone was, getting a little, psyched up for Iggy. A lot of people were marching over to the stage where Iggy was going to be performing just in about 15 minutes after this song. But it was great. Mark, I think it was Mark, had a crazy mask on with a puffy silver outfit with that weird mask from the 80s. From one of the videos, I can't remember which one, but it was really weird because he sang in this high frequency, really high pitched voice. It was so wacky and wonderful that it was just great. Looked like he was throwing out like super balls, like little colored super balls that he was bouncing. I could be wrong. At this point, I was marching my ass to see Iggy, so I was looking back on the screens trying to catch everything. But being the last song and all I had to watch, it was a weird breakdown during the middle of it, and Mark started talking about it being the 50th anniversary again and telling people to come back in 50 years, you know, again for the 100th anniversary. And at the very end, he said, "We love you. We are Devo." And then the band marched off the stage. It got dark, and that was it. And everyone was over to see Iggy. But I got to tell you, man, I never thought I'd see Devo. I was very surprised that they were as tight as they were. I was very surprised at how every song was very inviting. Very inviting. I really liked them a lot, man. Of course, getting out of there was a nightmare. There were so many freaking people when we tried to get to see Iggy. Man, people were shouldering me and giving me elbows, and I was like, man, chill out, you Pabst beer drinking mofos. But we got to get up to where Iggy was at pretty close, and I'll always remember seeing Devo. Hey man, if you liked my story tonight, would you consider subscribing to this channel? Would you give it a thumbs up? It takes just a second. Come on guys, it helps my algorithm. It really does, man. And maybe leave a comment if you would like. And then once again, I'm going to grab my notes here because I don't like to get stuff wrong. Thank you to my sponsor, C&J Window Cleaning and Power Washing in New York, 631-310-9858. Tell them Bloody sent you. And once again, thanks for always coming back to watch my vids. Thank you for the great comments I got yesterday on the Iggy Pop video. Very grateful to all of you rockers out there, and it's great that we have this great tribe of people that all love weird rock and roll and punk and metal and outlaw country and Devo. And I've got one last question before I sign off, guys. Are we not men? We are Devo. Cheers, man, and remember, HR puffin' stuff. Here's your pal when things get rough. Adios, my friends. I'll be back probably tomorrow, but I'm not going to make a promise, but probably tomorrow. I've got a lot of ideas for stories, including some G.G. Allen tales coming up for you guys. And I also got some secret news concerning something about Gigi that's going to be coming out soon. I'm not saying a word until it happens, though, and it's music that's unreleased. My friends, thanks for being here at Bloody F Mess Official. Rock on. I salute you all from the bottom of my black little heart. Cheers.